Hello everybody, I'm Ard, and welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. Today, we're back in our Draconic Evolution lab to finally continue progressing in this and try to make the Draconic equipment. And we're going to start with the Wyvern armors, which we've shown previously. I had to start getting the prerequisites for in the previous episode, where we got the materials for the Arctic fur and the Alpha Yeti. And now we just need to make a few other pieces, although we have most of it already from our mob farm. Although the big one we need is the Supremium armor set, which requires crafting from a Purium set and making a bunch of the armor cores, which aren't hard to make, but they require a bunch of pieces and a bunch of subcombines. But it can all easily be automated. Well, I already ran into one problem. I realized I didn't have enough Arctic Yeti fur to actually make the armor. And I went back to the Twilight Forest to go hunt some more Yetis, but all of the caves were completely empty of them for some reason. And I don't know what happened there. But I did have one already caught in a soul vial, so I tried putting that in my mob duplicator. I mean, I put it in a mob imprisonment tool first, but it wasn't actually working. I couldn't get that or the Carbonite gas to spawn inside my mob farm, which was really weird. So here we are, and now I've made an Ender IO powered spawner instead, which doesn't really require anything hard to make at this point. It mostly was just some Soul Machine chassis and a Z Logic controller. Once you have it made, you just bring it back to the Soul Binder and use the Soul Vial with the essence you have in it and combine that with a broken spawner. Then you take the newly minted spawner and combine it with the powered spawner inside an anvil, and you're done. Okay, so I think we have just about everything we need set up inside that shulker box right there. Now we just have to add everything to the pedestals and we should be good to go. Time to add the energy core, and let's see if this works. And it did power up. Time to wait. And really goofy looking Wyvern armor obtained. But this, however, is not the last step. This is barely the first step. Because now that we have the Wyvern armor made, we need to convert it into the Draconic armors, which are a whole lot more complex to make. Some of the stuff in here we haven't even made before, like the Draconic energy cores, which aren't any harder to make than the normal ones, really, since we have everything in place to make it. And we also have to make the resonant cell frames, which are super expensive, as well as the ultimate ingot, which I'm sure you're more than familiar with. But we also need a Mantle of Stars from Astral Sorcery, which is basically the endgame armor from it, which we've never made before either, but which does not look all that complicated to make at this point. You should know that there is an upgraded version of this that can be linked to a constellation, but I'm pretty sure we don't need it to make the Draconic armor. So I guess we should just get on with making 4 of these, since it's nighttime and we have all of the materials and none of it's hard to get. Got it all loaded up, let's go. Mantle of Stars complete. I feel like this would be better if it had some matching pants, but here we are. I guess we'll have excuses to make the Draconic armor now, though. And here I am back in the lab again with a box full of parts again. Except this time they're all the super expensive pieces, so let's go put this together now. Alright, and now I have everything on the pedestals, so we should be good to go to make the helmet, and I just need to add the crystal matrix that I totally didn't just make a whole bunch of, because I completely forgot them. I absolutely did not forget that. So I should note that these do take a distressingly long time to make because they take over 2 billion RF to make, and they only pull in 1 million a tick, so this takes a while. So maybe it has something to do while you're making these. Alright, and now I look even goofier than before, but this isn't the end of this journey, so there's a couple things we need to talk about. One, there's a hotkey to interface with this item's abilities. It's 7 on the numpad by default in this pack, I guess. If we bring this up, you can see that we can click on each of these, and it brings up the modifiers for it. Like, you can increase the speed of the armor, you can hide the armor so it's ridiculous doesn't show, which I think I'm gonna do. And you can do things like turn on auto-feeding yourself in night vision. But like I said, that's not the full part of this journey. There's still more yet, because we haven't fully upgraded it yet. Because one of the things you can do is use these upgrade keys to power up your equipment. And there's a bunch of different things that do various different things. Like these increase the shield on the armor itself, which I didn't show that, I'll show that in a second. As well as this one that increases its RF capacity. If I bring the HUD back up, now in the lower left corner, you can see how much shield that it has and how much RF it's storing. It's storing 64 million. The shield amount's not really going to help us against the Chaos Dragon. That's not the trick that causes us to survive there. What we need is a much larger battery to keep us from dying at all. So we should probably upgrade that. And to upgrade that, we need to make the card, which itself isn't all that hard. This is all pieces we have, and this, from what I understand, is not a consumable, so we only need to make it once. But once we have it, it goes into the fusion crafting system, and using higher tier machines with different pieces, we do differing amounts of RF. And what we're going to want to do is the Draconic tier, because this is the tier that we're at. And the materials for this are actually completely reasonable for what we have. This isn't even all that expensive. I don't know how much I can jam into my armor, but a couple of these should make us pretty much invincible. You know what? I need to make a bunch of Awakened cores, which requires a bunch of Wyvern cores, and that's going to take a little while to cook. So while we're doing that, we might as well look into the next thing I was planning on doing, which was making all of the Wyvern equipment. So the sword, the shovel, the pickaxe, and the axe, because we already got a bow from a quest reward. And these are almost identical in nature to the armors, except in this case it's Draconic infused obsidian, but then the matching Supremium weapon. And these are just crafted. Thankfully, the Supremium equipment is a lot easier to make than the armors. We don't have to stack anything, and I don't need them in storage. We just need to build the tool cores, which are the same general process. It's a bunch deep, but we can automate that. Alright, Wyvern tools made, which brings us to the next half of this, the Draconic tools, which are simpler to make than the armor. They're just Awakened cores, Draconic energy cores, and Awakened ingots. So I think I'm going to make these before I actually upgrade anything, because the upgrading process is going to take a while, and I might end up doing that off camera to get prepared for the Chaos Dragon. Oh yes! And now we have the Draconic weaponry and tools. But the trip still is not quite yet finished, and these can also be upgraded. But you notice there is one more piece sitting right here, the Draconic Staff of Power, which combines the pickaxe, the shovel, and the sword together into one super tool. So of course we're going to make it. And now we've got the top tier Draconic Evolution weapon multi-tool thingamabobber. And if you go over this, you see that it does 60 damage right out the box before we even started upgrading it, which is significantly more than my 25 on my cleaver. Now, it doesn't have all of the enchantments my cleaver has. As with the armors, these all have their own options to use. And this one has quite a lot of them. But almost none of them matter because this thing is totally not safe to use anywhere near my base because it does massive AoE digging. So we're still going to be using my normal tools for the most part, unless I'm going to be killing something. Anyways, we've made a lot of progress towards actually doing the thing that scares me the most in this pack, which is go kill the Chaos Guardian. But I think it's a good time to stop now that we've got most of the equipment made and go cash in on all of these loot chests. So let's see how much garbage we get today. I'm betting all of it. More food, mana dust, which I'll take for free, greenhouse glass, which wasn't that useful because the exploit doesn't exist anymore, free ender pouch, donuts, more food, neutronium ingot, which, I mean, I'll take free ingots, I guess. They take a while to make. Which reminds me that I need to go make the fusion reactor from Nuclear Craft. I know, folks, it's on the list. Even more food. An elytra, which might be usable for some of the crafting I have to do yet, but this is the bauble version, it might not work. Another smoker, which is just decorative and garbage. Factory blocks, which are just blocks. And I'm not planning on doing a whole lot more building this series. Doors. Big iron, which I haven't had a use for at all this series. Eyes of Ender, which are just insulting. Another Unbreakable Builder's Wand. Speed upgrades, which are simple to automate now. A chair. No, worse, this is 8 chairs. Oh, food we haven't eaten. That's surprising. Food we have eaten. And more lime anti-blocks that we don't need. So yep, that was pretty much garbage other than the one food we didn't eat. If only I could destroy most of this stuff with this staff. Anyhow, if you found this episode interesting and entertaining, please consider leaving a like or subscribing if you're new. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.